Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco, Dish Out on the Movies, and we are talking about
You don't know what show we're talking about?
I never, because for some reason I cannot remember the show. The Texas show with Hank and Boomhauer and Bill and Peggy and Bobby.
It's called Ozark.
No, it's not.
It's called Married with Children.
Yeah, that show sucks.
It's called Living with Family. It's called Happy Days.
No, Marco.
You like Happy Days, Safi?
I saw Happy Days years ago.
I bet you did. We're reviewing King of the Hill.
King of the Hill. Why can't I remember that?
Safi still hasn't become a professional reviewer 10 years later. Sorry, guys.
What? 10 years later?
8 years later.
Okay, we're doing the episode 5 and episode 6.
We didn't do these last week because I was sick, and I'm still a little sick. I'm getting over it. Also kind of sick of Safi, you know.
Oh, please. Episode 5 is entitled New Ref in Town, and episode 6 is, I don't like the title, and there's more to it than what's being said. It's called Peggy's Fade Out.
It's a hair term, and it's also fade out, and then also her being faded out at the end of the episode out of Bill's friends. The fake story, but we'll get into it. Safi has to assist with dinner preparations, and so she will be leaving this video in a couple of minutes. So I'm gonna let her say what she thought, and then I'll say what I thought, and then we'll bring the cat in here, and he'll say what he thought, and he'll say he'll give his meows.
He did not watch the episodes. He was asleep while I was watching them, and while Marco was watching in here.
He's really lazy. He never does his homework.
Okay, well anyway, this is on Hulu. I watched it on Hulu, which I assume Marco did too.
No, I watched it on the special website.
Okay, well, because King of the Hill was on Hulu this season.
What'd you think of the episodes, though? That's like what we're here to figure it out.
This new ref in town, for some reason, what do we know about Hank? 3 things. He loves propane and anything related to it. He loves being busy. He doesn't want to be bored. He likes to do things, like around the house, whatever, but he doesn't like to just sit around doing nothing. And he does like football, so that would be another thing. So anyway, this new ref in town is really referring to him. And he seems to know Boomhauer is actually a soccer referee because his girlfriend's son is on the team, and so nobody would do it, and so Hank went to this game and he saw him and they were abusing him. They were throwing balls at his head, and so he decided, I know something about football, and being what he does, he keeps busy, so he researched all the rules and prepared to do the next game. And they really like him. He really did well, but then things come up, but that's not the only thing that goes on. Then we have
you don't know his name?
Who? Boomhauer?
No, the next character now.
Okay, Dale is the paranoid guy. And he has not stopped being paranoid. Maybe there's the degrees in which he's paranoid, or just everybody's used to him. But he seems to think, because of Hank's knowledge about soccer, before he decided to do this refereeing, and he was talking about it as if he knew everything about it. And before he left for Saudi Arabia, they thought he said he hated soccer, I guess. And so they think Dale thinks he's some kind of spy for Saudi Arabia because he got indoctrinated over there. And that's what they do over there. They don't play football. they don't have, if they have basketball, I don't know, but he was working on some kind of propane setup. He could see it was at a soccer stadium, and he could see it going on, and he got really interested in it. It's competitive. He's used to competition. He's from Texas. They love football. They live, breathe, and eat football.
But Safi, what did you think about the episode?
Well, the episode I thought was kind of goofy because Dale was Dale, and it was funny because what they did was he was supposed to referee this big game, and they kidnapped him. He and Dale and Bill, and Dale was going to give him this shot of homemade truth serum that he'd made up. He had already given it to Bill, and to see if he was some kind of special agent for Saudi Arabia. Well, ended up, Hank told him no, and they got everything set, and so Peggy took him to the game, but it was too late. Boomer had taken over, and it wasn't traditional soccer rules. It was a combination of football and all that. But anyway, it was kind of I could understand why he'd want to do this. It's his way of keeping busy, competition. He knew about the sport, and he had liked it. And the thing with Dale, it's typical. It was, I don't know, there were some strange things about it.
What's your grade?
Well, I guess I'll give it a B.
Wow.
In fact, I'll give the next episode B too.
Wow.
The next episode, like I said, it's about Peggy's fade out. And of course, Marco's just told me that's a haircut term, and I have heard of that. I just wasn't, in terms of...
Wasn't thinking.
King of the Hill fade out just doesn't click with me in that show.
Uh-oh.
So I'm going to have to go, but I give this a B too. And the thing is, the title of it just says Peggy, but I would say 50% of the episode was about Bobby. And somebody tells Bobby, well, his best friend, I think it's Joseph, tells him he sees Connie's boyfriend with another girl. And so he tells Connie. And that's kind of goofy, but I guess he felt like that he should do it. And then she said, that's okay. I'm in this open relationship. And she's got it all mapped out. And we can, that's what you do nowadays. And I'm too busy. I have 2 majors, and I can't really have a serious relationship. And so this kind of open relationship is fine. And then the other part of the episode is...
what did you think of the episode, Safi?
I just thought it was 50% Bobby and 50% Peggy. And the thing about Peggy, Marco can talk about that, but
I will.
That's goofy. It's a little goofy. So I don't know what to say. I'll give it a B minus.
You better get going now.
So I gotta go now.
Since you decided to spend your whole time recapping the episodes that people already watched. So, anyways, now I'm going to give my thoughts, which are, a lot more substantial.
Well, because Marco is a lot more familiar with the show.
No, it's because I'm actually giving it a review instead of just saying what happened. Well, so go ahead.
Well, would you agree with me that the second episode, it was not all about Peggy?
Well, I was having trouble. I had to be reminded what happened in the second episode, because it just, the title doesn't click with me in terms of
what I said.
The main story. So, Safi's going to go play with some mashed potatoes now. Anyways, these episodes, I gotta say, I was just kind of watching them in the background as I was doing something very important. Today was supposed to be an off day, and today is Monday. Today is not Tuesday when you're seeing this video. But I had a couple of things I really wanted to do, and so I just switched it to where today I did work and tomorrow's going to be an off day. So I was doing some really boring editing tasks where what I did was I decided this whole segment of a movie scene would be cut out completely. Not the short movie releasing in October, but a full movie. And so I deleted all of that scene, which meant I had to drag all the other audio clips and things to their original places. And that was just like a huge bitch. So I was really hoping that this King of the Hill episode would be like a fun, funny, like, I mean, I was really looking forward to it after missing last week, but I was not really that impressed with either of these episodes. And in fact, it really just confirms my original thoughts about the show when we reviewed episodes 1 and 2, which is this show doesn't really feel like the old show in the sense that these episodes are way, way too shallow, and they're like bite-sized binge episodes. It's like the episodes were designed to be binged. Because Safi, she never talked about the horse thing from the first episode that we were reviewing today. But she couldn't remember whether that was in the first one or the second one. And that just should, and that's not, Safi is pretty good with like, I mean, short-term memory and some long-term memory, but, she, I mean, it just shows the quality of the show is kind of lesser. And, both these episodes, it's not like they're bad. They're not bad episodes, but they're very, very just okay. And they're really kind of forgettable. And again, they're bite-sized. They both feel like they're like 5 minutes long. They don't feel like they have a full Act 1, Act 2, Act 3 like the old show used to feel like. And I swear to God, I'm not one of those people who just automatically says everything old is good, everything new is bad. I want this show to be great. I want it to be, I mean, you already have the segregated voice actors problem, but that's separate to the storytelling. If it's a good show, it's a good show, and I can't really complain, right? So anyways, the first episode, I really didn't like the whole story about Hank being a referee because I just thought it was really underdeveloped, and I thought that it was all just played for comedy. Like, oh, it's really funny that Peggy and him are doing like this dirty role-playing game with him being a referee, like role-playing referee and, all that kind of thing. I mean, I thought it was funny at first. I thought it was kind of nice, too, because it was nice for the characters. It was nice that, they have a healthy relationship and all that. But it just got kind of old. And then the thing with Dale surveying Hank and thinking that he's a foreign agent because he likes soccer now. I know that Dale died, the actor. He died like how many episodes into the show. And they have this new voice that kind of sounds a little different. But you can't do anything about that. He died. They didn't segregate the voice actor. He died. Which is terrible, terrible. And but it just felt really over the top, and it didn't really feel like Dale to me. It some of the stuff that he did, like kidnapping Hank and questioning him like that felt like something he would do. Like it just felt really, really exaggerated how he thought that Hank was a foreign agent. I did like the fact, I like the character development with Hank, where, he says, like, I didn't have anything to watch over there in Saudi Arabia while I was doing my work, and then I fell in love with soccer, and I realized that it was, just as good as football. I like that. I like that character development. I think that's nice. And then, so I guess we're done with that plot. So that was just okay. It was very, very okay. The second plot was not okay. It was all about Bobby, and he is going to buy his first car. Which, if you think about the old King of the Hill, this is another issue. This is probably why the new show feels bad. It feels like it's bite-sized. Because in the old show, you would have had an entire episode centered around how Bobby gets his first car. An entire episode. But in this show, it's just a little B-plot. You know, just like the George W. Bush Museum, this story could have been its own episode. And it really wasn't a great story, though, because what ends up happening is that he works this newer salesman pretty good. He gets a good deal. He gets the car he wants. You know, he basically comes in and just masterminds him. But then this older car salesman, he sells Bobby a horse for free that's included with his car. And Safi brought up the fact that, you know, Bobby never even really shows off his car. They never even show his car, or we see it very much at all. So that was very strange and kind of like, you know, skimpy of the writers and the show in general. I just thought it was kind of dumb that he got a horse. I also thought it was really shitty that there was no follow-up with Hank and Peggy. You know, like Hank and Peggy never came over and saw the car and saw the horse. You know, like I could imagine like the older show, Hank would come and he would help out. You know, he would help deal with the horse issue. And frankly, I can't even remember how they ended up resolving the horse story. So yeah, I would give this episode a C+. I don't think it's terrible. It just, it wasn't great. And I thought that it could have been so much better. And then the second episode, you know, this one's kind of weird because I couldn't remember like what the main plot was, because both plots of the episode kind of felt like B plots. So first off, you had this, I really liked this story where Bill, he has like a group of friends at this barbershop, a group of black friends, and he actually has friends, and besides the, you know, the normal guys, and he told them that he was married to Peggy for all this time. And so I just thought that was such a great idea. It was so funny. It really deserved its own episode, actually, in thinking about it. And what's even funnier is that at first, Peggy is actually really into the idea. And she goes along with it, and then it gets a little bit too much, and she's like, okay, you gotta end this. And so then he says that she died, and I thought it was actually kind of a beautiful story. I thought that it was nice and emotional, and again, very good character, development for Bill, and it really fit his character. It really fit the show. It felt like something they would have done on the old show. And then the secondary story, Safi already went into it. You know, Connie is a whore, apparently, and she sleeps with an entire fraternity, and, you know, she covers it all up with, you know, using SJW terms like slut shaming, which, you know, actually I think that we need slut shaming to return in our society. It's gone way too far. And this episode, they actually made fun of the whole open relationship bullshit and the ethical non-monogamy, which is just really, really gross. Like, you know, I'll tell you guys something that I will not say with Safi in the room. Okay, I know someone from high school, and, you know, I never talked to her, and I was never friends with her in high school. And she's just become like the biggest whore of all time. And she tried to sell me her content. And she even okay, she even said that she would do something if I bought her a Roomba, a Roomba vacuum cleaner. And then recently, see, well, I unfriended her like a long time ago because I was like, okay, this bitch is weird, and I don't like people like that. I think it's kind of gross. But she got a boyfriend, and you guys won't believe this. She was trying to offer me content, and she said, "Don't worry," and I said, "No, thank you, bye." And she said, "Aw," and she said, "Don't worry, my boyfriend is totally okay with it, and he knows all about it." And it's like, God, this is so gross. Like, you guys, this is the kind of stuff why a certain president won the election, is because I don't like things like that. I don't like, and I'm not saying who I voted for. I didn't vote for either of the main candidates, but this is the kind of stuff that really, really turns, young guys and young people off. Is this kind of gross out, just, it's so gross the way that certain people treat themselves and treat their bodies and, treat relationships. And so I was glad that they made fun of that. And I also thought it was actually really sweet because Connie ended up feeling bad, and she sent Bobby cookies that said, "Your husband material." And it made me so happy when she did that. It actually went to the wrong neighbor, but it made me so happy because that was one of the things that I hated the most about the old show, is that Connie and Bobby broke up. And it felt like it was unfair, and it was contrived, it was controlled. And so I really loved that she said that he was husband material. I thought it was such a great, little thing. Because I can just picture, them getting married on the show, and that would really honestly be the coolest thing ever. I would love it if they did that. And then, as well, though, what was the other? Oh, yeah, Willow. So now we have a new character, and it's really funny because by appearances, Connie doesn't look like a whore who, just has an ethical, non-monogamous relationship. She looks like a decent woman. And then Willow looks like a stereotypical, like a SJW character. She's got the half-shaved head. She's got a crystal around her neck. I think she might have a piercing on her face. But what's funny is that, Bobby discovers her, and they hook up, I guess. And she is actually the complete opposite of what you'd expect. And she's actually really based, and she's really funny. And I gotta say, I really like her as well. So it's kind of a strange thing. It kind of reminds me of Lucky, because I'll say this. This might be something you guys dislike. I do not like Lucky. I think he's ugly as hell. I didn't like it. I thought that, he was like a stereotype. But a lot of the times he proved the stereotype wrong. And, that was the same thing that happened with this Willow character, is that it felt like she was a subversion of this stereotype. And it felt like, this is an interesting situation here. Bobby has 2 love interests, and both of them are actually pretty damn decent. And I gotta say, if I was Bobby, I would pick Connie, but but I would take a couple of minutes to think about it, And I don't know. I don't know, because that's the thing about relationships, and the reason why what Connie was talking about is just so gross is because, relationships, it's all about feeling. It's about feeling an emotion that's on the inside. that manifests when, you know, you share time with someone, you share whatever with someone. And so when you're doing what Connie's doing, you're taking all of the emotion out of it. So in other words, you're not really experiencing a relationship. So it kind of... But yeah, I mean, both plots, I mean, it just, again, this episode did not really feel like a whole episode. It didn't feel like a complete King of the Hill, old-time episode. It just kind of felt like two B-plots that were smudged together, and both of them were pretty decent. So I would give the episode a B. You know, I would watch this episode again. I mean, there's nothing inherently wrong with it. And, yeah, I enjoyed the episode. So, now that we are finished reviewing King of the Hill, unfortunately, Safi is still working on potatoes. You know, she just had to go in there and turn the water on, and, you know, she's got to wait and for it to boil, and then she's got to time it, so that's why she couldn't come back. But anyways, I hope that you guys enjoyed this review. If you did, I would also very much enjoy it if you checked out our Patreon page. It is called, the Safi and Marco Dish Out on Movies Patreon page. And it is going to have a ton of bonus content, exclusive content, movie and TV reviews. It has a vlog, how to make a Goosebumps fan series. It's going to have a ton of filmmaking, behind-the-scenes content, and if you sign up for any of the 3 tiers, no matter which one you sign up for, you will get your name put in the opening credits for one of my film projects in the future. So whether that be for a movie, a short movie, or the Goosebumps fan series, you will be able to say that you are officially a part of the Cool Kids Club. But if you can't do it, then, you know, you're still a part of the Cool Kids Club, but, you know, you guys know what I mean. So, you know, as long as you know, like our content and support this channel, then it still means the same amount that it would mean if you know, got a membership at Patreon. And actually, Dale mentioned Patreon in one of these episodes. I thought that was kind of funny. So please like this video and comment and tell me what you thought of these 2 episodes. Do you agree that this season, the episodes, they kind of feel like they're bite-sized? Like, it's almost like when you get a Lunchable. You know Lunchables, guys? Like, have you had a Lunchable in years? I have. I did last year. I did a review of the Lunchly, of one of them. And then the other 2 disappeared from the store. And then I kind of lost interest in reviewing them, so I said, fuck it. But, yeah, this show, each episode is like eating a Lunchable. And I think that, I wish that it wasn't like that. I wish it was more full. I wish it was more complete. Because I think that, you know, the show, there's only 10 episodes. They all came out at once. So that doesn't mean they should just be like these binge episodes. You know, they should be more complete, more full. I also kind of think that the transition from, you know, coming from Saudi Arabia to, you know, Arlen, it hasn't been that well done. You know, like, we still are catching up with all the characters from the show, and the old show, and I guess that's how it would be in real life. So, you know, I don't know. But anyways, please, I already said all that stuff. So anyways, goodbye everybody. See you soon.